Hi, I'm Jacinta Cunahan and this is Coast Community News, 5 at 5, April 9. Coming up this week, the Astra Zeneca vaccine is temporarily suspended. A wicked lagoon problem. Beach pollution remains. Wild dog and fox baiting starts. And a song cycle in Wyong. We start the program with news coming out of the New South Wales Health, with them temporarily pausing the administration of the Astra Zeneca vaccine from today. This temporary pause is to allow sufficient time to ensure all participants presenting for vaccination are provided with the most up-to-date information, which will be updated by the Commonwealth Department of Health very soon. The Pfizer vaccine will continue to be administered as planned. Now let's go to David for some info on the floods.
Thanks, JC. A wicked problem of lagoons was the conclusion coastal engineering expert Angus Gordon came to after completing his report on the management of the Tuggerah Lakes Lagoon and other Central Coast lagoons. He spoke to us earlier this week about possible solutions.
Look, there's a number of solutions, but I mean, if you really want to look at the ultimate solution, it's like all these things you need to look around, and the most obvious places where you'll see that is the Netherlands or some around the delta regions in the American Gulf there, the Mexican Gulf. And in those areas, the way they've solved this sort of problem is and they've been wrestling with this. I mean, in the case of the Netherlands, they've been wrestling with it for hundreds of years. And the only way to really solve these problems in that form is to build dikes around the development and to put in pumps so the water that falls within that area can be pumped out. But that really changes the whole nature of everything, and apart from the fact that it really costs a huge amount of money.
Administrator Dick Person commented on the report, saying flooding was always going to be an issue for the area. We also spoke with Dick.
There should never be a flood. If council was doing its job, there would never be a flood. Well, I think what Mr Gordon's confirmed, that's the Amsterdam Netherlands solution, which is just ridiculous, both in terms of expense and environmental damage. Real expertise is always worth listening to, whether it's climate change or this issue, and the issue that has been not highlighted in this report, that climate change will make this worse. You'll have more extreme weather events, you'll have more coastal surging, you'll have possible sea level rising up to 0.5 metre. So it's not going to get better. There's no way it can be made so that there's no more floods.
And sticking with council-related information, Central Coast Newspapers is asking our viewers and readers to participate in a short survey about the possible return of Central Coast councillors next month. So pop over to our website to complete the survey. Now let's go to Macy, who has an update on how the beaches are after the storms. Macy.
Fridges, pontoons, furniture, pumpkins, a caravan and even a cow have washed up on beaches across the coast this week following huge storms which savaged the region last month. The coast has seen a huge community effort with droves of locals turning out to collect more than 220 tonnes of wreck and debris from the foreshore. 710 tonnes of debris have also been collected from beaches, including 615 tonnes of seaweed from Terrigal Haven and 95 tonnes of mixed debris from Patonga, Umina, Ettalong, Kilcare, Avoca and Shelley Beach. Despite the remaining pollution, all beaches have now been opened, but council is advising residents and visitors that they swim at their own risk. Both the state and federal governments are also looking ahead to the next stage of the cleanup, offering recovery grants to small businesses and primary producers. The governments have agreed to cost share the grants, which will provide assistance to residents and business owners in the cleanup, disposing of debris, salvaging crops, and funds to cover additional damages caused by the floods. The grants will offer small businesses up to $50,000 and up to $75,000 for primary producers. On a different note, be aware that wild dog and fox baiting will continue from May 14th for a month. Now let's go to Harry for sport and weather.
It was a tight match on Tuesday between the Western Sydney Wanderers and Central Coast Mariners, ending in a 2-2 draw. The now familiar combination between Urena and Simon gave the visitors the early lead, but a second half surge from the hosts brought them ahead with 10 minutes to go. True to the late game form we've come to expect this season, as well as the late arrival of fresh energy throughout, Cole and Nesbitt, a late Mariners goal levelled the score and lasted to the game's end. Now looking back on the coast, the Easter weekend saw sailing clubs from across New South Wales and Queensland descend on Brisbane water for the 2021 Australian 13-foot and 16-foot skiff championships, hosted by Gosford Club. After 4 days of 8 races with light wind conditions, many sailors found unfavourable, the skiff River Wild of Belmont Club won the champs. Most notable for Gosford was skipper Sophie McIntosh, aboard Brian Hilton winning a handicapped race on Sunday. Now to weather. This weekend is set to be a bit of a cooler one, with a maximum of just 24 and a low of 16 predicted for Saturday. Saturday is also shaping up to be a partly cloudy day, with a 40% chance of rain in the morning. Winds will also be calm on Saturday, with a southerly breeze from 15 to 25 k's predicted. Sunday is going to be a little bit cooler, with a max of just 21 and a minimum of 12. The good news is that it'll be a mostly sunny day with no rain forecast. It will also be a little bit windier on Sunday, with a westerly breeze from 15 to 25 k's, tending southwesterly from 20 to 30 k's. Back to you, JC.
Thanks, Harry. All of these stories and thousands more can be found on our website. Don't forget to pick up a copy of this week's Coast Community News, Coast Community Chronicle and Pelican Post, and subscribe to all of our socials for updates. And before we end, we wanted to share with you a performance held at the Wyong Musical Theatre last night, which journeyed through the different stages of life and self-discovery. We spoke to some of the artists and the director on the night. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you next week.
Watch the big professional companies in Sydney slowly come back, and that's almost giving us a permission to come back. So the first show off the rank for Wyong Musical Theatre Company is fantastic to be back.
Excited. It's always nice to have an audience for the first time, and it changes the whole dynamics of the show because it becomes a lot more real. You get that audience interaction, so you kind of feel nervous at the start and then just really delighted at the end.
It feels wonderful. It feels like part of our soul has been missing for like however long it's been. I don't know. Amazing.
And can you tell me a little bit about the characters you played in the performance?
Yeah, so there's a plethora of characters, from an activist to a couple buddies in a bar, a sports star. Who else do we have? A prison mate and someone that's just died and is having his body carried home. So, yeah, all sorts.
My favourite song is I'm Not Afraid, which is the song where I've just started my new life with my new partner and we've moved in together. And I feel like I can really relate to that, being like a young woman and being excited about life's challenges and excited about the future.
Well, I play as man too. One of them is it talks about being in a relationship and kind of getting stuck there because you kind of, you can't work up the courage to leave. The song's called She Cries and talks about how, your partner, gives you a look or cries and makes you want to stay.